USC's Junior Visit Day was nearly perfect. Then it was good for about 10 minutes. Then it got ugly.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Hulkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC your first listen every day. Whether you're watching the show on YouTube or wherever you want to download your podcast, this show is free, and I really appreciate your support. You can show your appreciation if you're watching on YouTube. Become a subscriber. Smash that thumbs up button, and hit that bell notification button. All three help this show grow. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. New customers, join today, and you're going to get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. It was a perfect day on Saturday. Coming out of the weekend, it's Monday. You're here on Locked On USC, part of the Locked On Network, coming at you 5 times a week. The winter weather in Los Angeles on Saturday, USC Junior Visit Day, was perfect. Somewhere around 75 degrees, maybe slightly higher. The sun was out. I mean, gorgeous day. This is why people used to move to California. The football recruits, they were out. They were on campus, and they were getting the tour. This is their first time on campus with the new defensive staff hanging around, showing them what's going on. They were trying to make a really good first impression. And if first impressions are lasting impressions, USC did exactly. They did precisely what they intended to accomplish. There were somewhere between 45, 50 recruits on campus Saturday, checking things out. According to one source who would definitely know who has offers and who doesn't, of the recruits that were there, 30 of them had an official offer from USC. The others, and the balance of the group, they were planning to get some by the end of the weekend or during the week. You'll hear some names coming. You'll hear some of the guys coming out and say, "Hey, I got an offer." What they did get to do on this Saturday was they got to meet Lincoln Riley. The recruits who made the visit were chatting it up with some of their potential position coaches. They got to kind of get a little introduction to the strength and conditioning program with Benny Wiley. And then when they were done with that, they were basically fed an all-you-can-eat buffet. And then they got to go get some entertainment with a basketball game. Crosstown Showdown, USC versus UCLA. So again, that day went from perfect to some good entertainment for about 10 minutes. And then ugly won the basketball game. So I have a really good feeling that the recruits are going to remember having a really good time. I got to see Eric Henderson up close for the first time. When I spotted him, he and Gavin, they were giving a tour to class of 2026 recruit Jakeem Stewart. That young man, he's from Louisiana, defensive lineman. They were heading inside the Heritage Hall. They were going to go check out most of the Heisman Trophy awards that were on display. One of them was out on tour. Another one, we're not sure where that one's at right now. Anyhow, Lincoln Riley, Antonlynn, Sean Nua, Eric Henderson, and the entire USC coaching staff, they were hosting from the class of 2025 defensive lineman Hayden Lowe. He's from Westlake Village, California. You had rush edge Chinedu, Onyeagoro. I'm not going to butcher that. He's from Los Angeles, as well as edge player Epi Sitanilei from Rancho Cucamonga. Whatever happened to the names Smith, Jones, and Murphy? I appreciate all cultures. My tongue does not appreciate your last names. I apologize. It's not meant to be disrespectful. I just can't say the names unless it's said to me phonetically. Someone print these names out phonetically for us, Please. I'll learn these names as we go along. They also hosted a bunch of kids from 2026. You had, I mentioned, Joaquin Stewart from Louisiana. You had rush edge Dutch Horisk. He plays at Bosco. Sean Scott, Mater Dei. You had Manoa. My eyes are killing me. FAU, PUSA. He plays at Los Alamitos High School. Mater Dei. Tom Tomohini Tapui. Those guys are in the 2026 class. Again, just a handful of some of the defensive targets that were there. In 2025, offensive name to keep an eye on. Carson Cox, running back. I really like this guy's tape. He's got good size, 6'1", 190 pounds. He comes from a program that really likes to play physical football. He plays at Oak Hills High School. Those guys are consistently putting guys into Division I programs. Jason Rodriguez, he made his way to USC from Oak Hills. Shortly after Carson got his offer from USC a few weeks ago, he got that junior visit lined up for this past weekend. This was his first chance to really kind of get a up-close, intimate view of USC, the program itself. This is what he had to say. We went into a lot of detail, and we had a great conversation with Coach Lincoln Riley. I also talked to everyone in the running backs room and Zachariah Branch on why he picked USC. USC really impressed me yesterday, and I can't wait to make it back out there soon. That's what he told WeAreSC.com. Carson and Coach Kyle McDonald, they're continuing to build on their relationship that goes back a few years. Carson met Coach Kyle when Coach McDonald was coaching the Utah Utes. Excuse me. On 3 is a little bit higher on Cox than the rest of the recruiting industry. On 3 has him as the number 82 overall prospect in the class and the number 6 running back in the class of 2025. He's also the 8th ranked player in the entire state of California. 247 has Carson as the number 27 running back, Rivals a little bit lower at number 30 overall. Like I mentioned, there's a few linebackers, some edge players that were visiting on Junior Day. I mentioned Finidu, 6'4", 215 pounds. He doesn't have an offer yet, but this is what he told WeAreSC. Coach Nua is a cool dude. He sees me playing both ways, both linebacker and edge. They think I'm a very versatile player, and me and Coach Nua have a pretty good relationship. But that was my first time talking to the rest of the new staff. You also had 2025 linebacker. I'm going to try and pronounce this name. Mark. It's spelled Iheanachor. He's out of Harbor City, California. So Mark Ian Achor. I give up. You also had 2025 edge Epi Sitanilei. Again, Rancho Cucamonga, California. 6'5", 210 pounds. He plays for Bosco. I encourage anybody out there, send me a phonetic pronunciation list for these guys. I will keep the list by my notes. But my gosh, every year it gets harder and harder, and I apologize. USC also had the top-ranked cornerback on the West Coast, Chuck McDonald, Mater Dei High School. He was on campus. This young man has been on USC's radar for a while. A couple of years ago, he was playing against Zachariah Branch when Mater Dei and Bishop Gorman hooked up against each other. Last time Chuck was on campus, USC and Arizona were playing that triple overtime football game that USC won. Chuck has offers from everyone across the country. You name it, he's got it. USC, Alabama, Miami, Notre Dame, Florida, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Colorado. The list just continues to grow. He mentioned he got to meet Danton Lynn and Doug Bulk for the first time, which is a good thing. Both are have a heavy secondary influence in their coaching resumes. So that's what this day was all about. Recruits getting to meet the new staff, and especially if you're a defensive player. One guy that I want to bring up who wasn't on campus for this weekend, but he will be taking a visit soon. He told National Recruiting Director for On3, Chad Simmons, that he will be heading over to USC to make a visit soon. His name is Noah McHale. He was out in Florida doing a 7-on-7 tournament. 6'3", 220 pounds, plays linebacker for Bonita High School that's in Laverne, California. So far in his 3-year career, he's a class of 2025 guy. 353 tackles, 166 of which happened last year as a junior. He also has 31 tackles, for a loss, 14 quarterback hurries, and 5 sacks. Matt Entz, USC's new linebacker coach, is going to try and make nice with him really soon. I mentioned 2026 guys. I have no idea if USC can get all 3 of these guys from the class of 2026, but they're elite. Dutch Horace Bosco, Tom Tomu Tapui from Mater Dei, and Sean Scott from Mater Dei. I'll keep an eye on those guys throughout the year. I saw Dutch last year at Milliken. It was for a 7-on-7 event. He looked like he was a senior in high school as a sophomore. Yeah, dude's big. He's a baller. Overall, again, it was a very good day. The reason it wasn't perfect throughout the entire day was because of the way the basketball game ended. I'm coming in hot on that topic in the next segment. One last note before we close out this first segment of Locked On USC. Lincoln Riley, you knew he had to get a little bit of offense in there during the offseason. He's adding someone he knows to his staff. He'll be a GA. His name is Spencer Jones. He's joining the staff as a graduate assistant. He'll be working with the wide receivers. You didn't really think that Lincoln Riley was going to just go all defense 24/7, did you, right? Lincoln Riley likes to have his hands involved on offense. He's familiar with Spencer Jones. He coached him at Oklahoma. So just trying to help a guy come along through his coaching, up the coaching ladder. So Lincoln Riley paying it forward. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. That means every part is guaranteed to fit. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit, only available to U.S. customers. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts on Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. It wasn't supposed to be like this for the men's hoop team in 2023-2024, not this year. It wasn't supposed to look like the football season. Who, by the way, they were in attendance, a lot of the guys from the 2023 roster. You had guys like Bear Alexander, Jamil Muhammad, Caleb Bullock, Branch brothers. I saw Kyron Hudson. There are a whole bunch of guys there. My man Cooper Lovelace. Even Lincoln Riley was sitting courtside with his daughter. they were sitting with AD athletic director Jen Cohen. Here's my question. Or what in the hell happened this year to the men's basketball team? First, UCLA's football team held USC to their lowest point total, 20 points. It's a rough night. It's late. I'm sorry. And now you have this is not a really great UCLA basketball team. They held USC to their lowest point total of the season. Yep, UCLA 65, USC 50. I don't get it. I really don't get it. USC at home, both times. Yeah. Anyways, after that game last night, well, I should say last night, after USC lost to UCLA 65-50 at Galen Center, as I'm walking going towards the press conference, I'm thinking to myself, kind of feels like I'm watching Andy Enfield's last game as head coach. I don't think that Jen Cohen is going to make any midseason type of adjustment. But this season has gotten away from Coach Enfield. I don't know what has happened. But as far as I'm concerned, this season is over. I mean, it was over last week. It was over the week before that. Boogie Ellis confirmed it after this game. Quote, "There's supposed to be a sense of urgency when we lost the first game. Going into February, I feel like we have to lock in and stack up some wins. Everything we're doing right now is preparing for the Pac-12 tournament. We have to get sound defensively. We have to get our offense figured out. I feel like we're doing a great job defensively. We're holding teams to 35% from the field, doing things like that. We just have to figure it out offensively. I feel like we have to be able to put the ball in the basket. From here on out, I feel like we just need to focus on doing what we can, taking it one game at a time, getting better for the Pac-12 tournament, because we have to win." After that loss at home to Washington State, Boogie, that's when I asked if there was a sense of urgency. Because back then is when it seemed like the postseason was out of reach. I understand that Boogie was been out for 4 games, with a hamstring injury. They've lost every game since Washington State. That means they're riding a 5-game losing streak. Again, I'm not sure what has happened this year. USC had the number 1 recruit in the country, Isaiah Collier. He's been hurt. He's going to be out for at least a few weeks. You had Boogie Ellis returning. He was supposed to be the Pac-12 Player of the Year in 2024. He still has a chance for that award, but when your team's in last place, you don't win those types of accolades. Plus, you're adding the star power with Bronny James, who, oh, by the way, picked up his first technical foul of the season as a college player. That happened when he blocked a player's shot and he let his emotion get away from him. He got right in that player's face, started chirping. I saw it from my vantage point. I said, here it comes. Boop. Did it right in front of the official. Look, you had those players. Andy Enfield had his roster with the most depth he's had across the board since he's been USC's head coach. 4 really solid big men. Joshua Morgan, defensive stalwart, blocks shots like they're going out of style. Vinsu Ichuku, 7'1", who's supposed to be an NBA type of player. Kajani Wright, 6'9", big NBA body. And then freshman 6'11", Arrington Page, long, athletic. In the backcourt, you had Kobe Johnson, Osiah Sellers, DJ Rodman transferred from Washington State. You have Harrison Hornery. Those are the guys that were supposed to help out Boogie and Collier and Bronny shooting from the perimeter. Right now, the Trojans are in last place in the Pac-12. Final season of the Pac-12. They've won just 2 games in conference. Their only chance for postseason play is they have to win the Pac-12 tournament. And right now, that ain't happening. If you've watched them play, would you bet on them? No chance. Just like USC's football team took an 11-3 season and turned that into an 8-win season, 8-5. That's where the basketball team is right now. 8 wins. 8-12 overall. 2-6 in Pac-12 play. Look, injuries to Boogie and to Isaiah Collier, it hasn't helped this year. I get it. But USC stopped scoring. When you've got 34 points sitting on the bench, other guys have to step up. They didn't. They haven't. And now they're playing slow and inconsistent on defense because they're struggling on offense. It's affecting both sides of the play. Not only that, they're not rebounding either. It's literally like a rudderless ship. It's just circling the drain. It's sinking. They're going to host Oregon and Oregon State Thursday and Saturday. They've already lost to those two teams. And then they're going to head up to the Bay Area to play Cal and Stanford. Those are the 2 wins USC has in conference play so far. All I can say about the Crosstown Showdown game, that game was gross to watch after the first 10 minutes. Boogie Ellis, he came out strong. He had the team's 8 of the team's first 10 points. He finished with 8 points after the game. That's it. 8 points. USC led 16-13. They were showing some defensive effort early, some intensity. I mean, with 9 minutes left to go in the first half, they had 6 blocked shots. That'll get it done. And then all of a sudden, I look up at the scoreboard. USC leads 22-21. There's about 5 minutes left to go in the first half. And I'm thinking, why is the game so close? Well, the game's close because UCLA had 8 offensive rebounds. USC had 0. That's effort, or a lack thereof, depending on who you're looking at, which team you're rooting for. UCLA eventually went on a 17-2 scoring run. They did that in 4.5 minutes. And all of a sudden, I look up again. UCLA is leading 32-24. USC never got back into the game after that. And now Coach Enfield and his team leaders, they're searching for answers. They're trying to figure it out. I don't want to say that they're content, but Bronny James, that technical that he got, that's not the type of emotion I'm looking for. I don't know if this team is nasty enough, though. But when I say nasty, when I see Joshua Morgan following up a missed shot in one motion, getting the offensive rebound and slamming it back through the bucket, he needs to do more of that. That's the type of nasty I'm talking about. Guys who are willing to dive on the floor, not reach to the floor for a loose ball. I hate saying USC is soft inside, but there's times when they look like they're soft inside. That's not something I enjoy saying. But I think at this point right now, at this point of the season, we probably need to see more Arrington Page and more Kajani Wright. Because if Vince and Joshua aren't feeling it, put in the younger guys. What do you got to lose? You got to play for the future. This season is over. They're not making the postseason. Even if they do, they're not going to last very long. Look, at this point, I hope I'm wrong, but I kind of get the sense they're just going through the motions. We're going to find out on Thursday when Oregon comes to town. Happy Super Bowl to all who celebrate from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. If you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is all about scoring the best seat on the couch grabbing your favorite football snacks, and then making some Super Bowl bets. I like the commercials. I love the holiday vibe. For me, it's like a football Thanksgiving, food all day long. And as a former LA Rams fan, it pains me to say this. I think I like San Francisco over Kansas City in the Super Bowl this year. FanDuel has so many ways to win, so many ways for you to end your season with a W, maybe 2, maybe 3. Not only can you bet who will win the Super Bowl, but FanDuel also has bets for which players will score a touchdown, how many points will be scored, and so much more. New customers, join today, and you're going to get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Two of USC's tougher games in 2024 were going to be road games at Michigan and then at Washington. Both of those programs have new head coaches, sort of. The Wolverines' permanent head coach now, Sherrone Moore, he had a 6-game tryout in 2023 during the season when Jim Harbaugh had to serve those 3-game suspensions 2 times. He got caught cheating. Sherrone Moore went 6-0. He was part of the reason Michigan won the national championship. So does Michigan just pick up where they left off? Or does that culture that Jim Harbaugh created, does that leave with him as he takes over down with the LA Chargers in the NFL? Jedd Fisch, he's jumping from the desert. He's going to the lake, Montlake. I think it's going to take him a minute or two to replicate what he did down in Tucson, getting Arizona up to a 10-win team. Washington's going to be in rebuild mode. So did USC's schedule get easier next year, or this coming season? So now, what is your way too early forecast? Okay. Before, if you had USC losing both of those games, does USC now go 1-1? You have them going 2-0? Or do you still have these games checked off in the loss column? Let's look at USC's schedule in 4-game increments. In the first 4 games, what's USC's record? You have LSU in Las Vegas, Utah State at the Coliseum, a bye week, at Michigan, then they host Wisconsin. So do you have USC going 4-0 or 3-1? Let's look at the next 4 games. At Minnesota, hosting Penn State, at Maryland, hosting Rutgers. I think everyone agrees, right? Penn State is a tough game at home. So is USC going 3-1 or 4-0 during that stretch? So now, you're 2/3 of the way through the season. Is USC 6-2 at worst, 8-0 at best, or are you going to slide them in there somewhere at 7-1 in the middle? Then you got that final home stretch, the final 4 games. At Washington, the bye week, number 2. Host Nebraska. At UCLA, not really a road game. Host Notre Dame. Again, remember, Jedd Fisch is in rebuild mode. But this game is in November. It's up in Seattle. Weather could probably play a factor. USC at UCLA. Better bring home that victory about Trojans. And then you've got, I almost forgot to mention Nebraska. USC at home, Nebraska. That's a win, right? Final game of the year, USC hosts Notre Dame. So is USC going 3-1, 2-2, or 4-0 down that home stretch? Here's what it is. 9 wins should be the bare minimum in 2024. 10 wins is not out of the question at all. And 10 wins, 10-2, you're probably lining up to play for the conference championship game. It means you're also contending for the playoffs. Tell me, what do you think? Hit me up in the comments section. Did USC's schedule get easier in 2024? Let me know. I'll be back with another episode tomorrow, 5 times a week. That's what we do. I'm going to have more feedback from the juniors and maybe some juniors to be who are on campus visiting over the weekend, plus a whole lot more. So until then, everyone, you know what to do.